There you go.
Okay, we have to all push OK on that. Is that true?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right. I don't know why. I'm trying to advance my slide deck and I don't know why it's not letting me do it. Let me see if I can. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. Looks like we're all lined up. Um, well, I just want to welcome everybody. Hope everyone's having a great summer so far. We're definitely getting psyched for the snow season coming up. And as you can see, we're even more psyched to have this trip that we've been working on. Dave and I have been working on. Dave has been really active with getting it going. So hopefully, well, a bunch of us here will be the recipients of all the work that Dave's been putting in, and I've been helping out. So we wanted to thank you first, everybody, for coming out to check out what this trip is about. And we're gonna have a lot of information and things we're gonna be covering in this during this bit of time that we go through here. Um, so first, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Andy Matthey. I'm the chair of WNBA, and this is Dave O'Neill. He's the vice chair and co-founder of Westerner Mass Backcountry Alliance. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about this awesome trip we've got planned for this upcoming season. We're also going to give some details to discuss the itinerary, the total cost per person, and generally hope to get everyone as excited about this trip as we are as we head north to explore this Shangri-La that we've been dreaming about. I've never skied the Chic Chocs, but it's been on my to-do list for the last bunch of years ever since I heard about it, some people talking about it, and I started checking it out. And but I don't have personal experience up there. I know some of you have skied it, and so we're really excited to just get up there and see what it's all about. Um, since we've got a lot of we've got a lot to cover. Feel free to take notes, and then you can ask questions at the end if you like. We're also recording this Zoom, so you can watch it again later if needed. First, where and what exactly are the Chic Chocs? The Chic Chocs are the northernmost extension of the Appalachian Mountains that end in the Gaspé Peninsula of Quebec. While they're not necessarily tall by Western standards, they're about 3 to 4,000 feet, which is typical, of the Northeast. They are impressively scenic and glacially eroded, leaving much skiable terrain above tree line, and are notoriously steep as well, which obviously makes for great skiing and snowboarding. They also average about 5 to 8 meters of snow each season, which translates in U.S. speak to about the same as Jay Peak. The Chalks have been a best kept secret of the northeastern skiers and Canadian skiers for decades, and the secret's out of the box now, fortunately for us. For this trip, we're working with one of the top outfitter guides in the region, which is Chic Choc, to provide all of our lodging, our meals, and all of the professional guide service that we need while we're in the backcountry, which will include a mix of snowcat skiing and uphill touring. Chic Choc is based out of Murdochville, Quebec, and our group accommodations will have us staying at the foot of the local ski hill in Murdochville that's called Mont Miller. This is the trip to get there is about an 11 and a half hour drive from our rendezvous point in Greenfield, Mass. So we plan to break up this round trip drive with overnight stays in Quebec City each way. This gives about a 5.5 hour drive to QC, and then a 6-hour drive to Murdochville the next morning. Departing from Greenfield on Sunday on February 9th, we plan to arrive in Murdochville on Monday, February 10th in the early afternoon, ready to check in and take some uphill laps at Mount Miller before dinner and in an early bed ready for the next morning. Tuesday on the 11th after breakfast, we'll be meeting our guides, discussing our goals for the day, and familiarizing ourselves with the avalanche gear necessary to ski this region. This equipment includes beacons, shovels, probes, and backpacks sized to fit this gear. We highly recommend taking an avalanche cert course prior to this trip, though it's not required. I took a class 1 with the East Coast Avalanche that's based in Vermont last season at Smugs, and it was really educational. I learned a ton, and we highly recommend it. They host classes also in the Whites, and I believe that they offer discounts for CTA members. Those of you who are Catamount Trail Association members or WNBA members too. Whether you have your own beacon, shovel, or probe or not, we'll be hosting several group practice sessions during the season that leading up to the trip, because just having the gear doesn't do much. You've got to practice to know how to use it to save lives when you need it. So we'll be scheduling those for over the winter. Yeah, it's Mount Miller. Okay. After the morning introductions and objectives, the fun begins. We'll spend the first 2 days, Tuesday the 11th and Wednesday the 12th, riding in snowcats to access optimal backcountry terrain. Chic Choc cats ride 12 participants, hence that's our max group size, plus guides, and we'll spend the entire day out there, returning each day at 4 o'clock. Lunch is provided by Chic Choc on the mountain, and then back at the base, we've got a full dinner menu at their center. It's called HQ, to choose from while trading face shot stories or just falling asleep in our beers before our bed. Since we technically are also a backcountry alliance that promotes self-powered skiing and riding, the next 2 days, Thursday the 13th and Friday the 14th, will have us legitimately earning our turns. Our guides shift gears and will be leading us now into the mountains on the skin track and away from all the noise of the modern machinery to find some pristine powder runs. Again, breakfast, lunch, and dinner are all provided throughout the week, though you should also consider packing your own favorite skin track snacks and, of course, water bottles. If you still have energy by Saturday the 15th, you can rise early and catch first chair on Mount Miller for some assisted runs before our vehicles depart for Quebec City around noon. Or you can just take it easy, filling up on coffee and watching the sun rise overhead too. It's your choice. This is a no judgment zone. We'll plan to arrive in Quebec City for dinner, and after hotel check-in, possibly a trip to a local spa for some much needed recovery. After breakfast the next morning, we'll make the final drive back to Greenfield with an arrival time estimated for about 3 to 4 p.m. on Sunday the 16th. I hope this sounds as exciting to you guys as it does us. And that is our basic itinerary. So the specific cost details of this multi-day include full transportation and gas in 2 8-person Chevy Tahoes equipped with 4-wheel drive. 2 hotel nights in Quebec City, the 9th and the 15th. All accommodations, meals, and guide services with Chic Choc in Murdochville. We've reserved an entire house called Big Bill that sleeps 12 and has a full kitchen, dining room, smart TV, Wi-Fi, and laundry. As you can imagine, this is going to be a pretty social trip. Breakfast and dinner will be taken at Chic Choc's HQ restaurant with lunch in the mountains each day. A sample dinner menu includes soup, main, entree, and dessert. Some entrees have a small additional fee listed in their menu, but there are plenty of options, including vegetarian and GF, etc. Guide service includes 2 days of cat skiing and 2 days of uphill touring. Accessible areas will be determined by our group's objectives in the morning and our guide's knowledge of the local terrain and current conditions. For those without beacon, probe, or shovel, they are provided by Chic Choc within the total fee. Though again, we strongly encourage taking or refreshing an Avi course and purchasing your own avalanche gear that you're really familiar with too. The total cost also includes one lift ticket at Mount Miller that would be used on that final day that we're there before we leave, which will really be a half day in the morning. What this multi-day package doesn't include are meals and snacks en route to Quebec City and then to Murdochville in return. It doesn't include dinner and breakfast in Quebec City, and it doesn't include alcohol and other beverages during the trip. The total cost per person is $3,200 US with an initial 1,000 non-refundable deposit that's paid now, or within a few days when we open up the registration page. And the remainder would be paid in full by December 1st, 2024. Since this isn't an official Western Mass Backcountry Alliance trip, and we exist under the umbrella of the Catamount Trail Association, we'll have a CTA liability waiver that'll cover the entirety of the trip that people will sign. While skiing out of Murdochville, we'll be under the guide service of Chic Choc and will be required to sign their liability waivers as well. A US passport's required to enter Canada and return to the US, so please have your documents prepared well in advance. If holding a passport from outside of the US, please understand your personal requirements for entering Canada and returning to the US prior to the trip also. While not required, travel insurance can be a good idea. I've heard really good things about an organization called World Nomad that specializes in adventure and expedition insurance. And I'm going to be looking into that for a short-term policy. And I can send a link to that also in the chat section afterwards if people are interested in finding out more information. We've authorized with Chic Choc, we've authorized a creditable refund policy that allows a full credit for cancellations made before 10 days from the start of the trip. This credit's good for rescheduling a trip of equal cost for up to 2 years. No credit will be granted by them if the cancellation occurs 10 days or less before the reservation date, February 9th. It's also important to note that Chic Choc's own policy for cancel what Chic Choc's own policy is for canceling. And I'm just going to quote from their own literature for reasons that they would need to cancel the trip and what that means. So, quote, Chic Choc has the right to cancel or change any motorized activity when the risk is too high, the weather is bad, or in the case of mechanical failure, regardless of the time remaining before the start of the activity. Every canceled or modified trip by Chic Choc could be rescheduled before the end of the current season according to availability. Chic Choc has the right to remove at any time anybody who has not the requested abilities based on the guide's judgment. A participant who has not the proper abilities will be refunded 2/3 of the total amount for the ski part of the package. Chic Choc has also the right to remove at any time anybody who does not follow the security instructions given by the guide. This participant will not have access to any refund. It's important to note too that the local snow conditions in the Chic Chocs, like everywhere, are variable, right? We can't promise anything, of course. We all know that. We can't guarantee deep powder lines any more than we can prevent low tide or icy conditions. As we all know, this is a risk and it is a reward of skiing backcountry. We will not be canceling the trip for any adverse snow conditions unless Chic Choc has determined the conditions to be inherently unsafe, as in avalanche or unskiable base depth. If this is the case, we will adhere to their cancellation policies. Additionally, we will not drive in any road conditions that would jeopardize the safety of our group. If bad road conditions delay our arrival time or day, our decision to drive will reflect our commitment to group safety above all else. If this event arises, we promise to negotiate with Chic Choc for a refund for the lost time, but we cannot guarantee it. Finally, this amazing multi-day is for advanced skiers and snowboarders who have experienced traveling in wintertime backcountry. The terrain in the Chocks will be challenging and variable, and the temperatures and conditions could be extremely cold. It's important to understand this and to be prepared. At least one mandatory meetup will be scheduled prior to the trip to cover gear list, AVI equipment in use, and assess skill levels. As noted earlier, we'll also be scheduling several beacon and pro practice sessions to have our skills refreshed, since we'll be spending each day in avalanche possible terrain. This trip is going to be amazing, and it's going to be amazing to share it with a bunch of you guys. And as always, we put safety first. We currently have 10 spots open, and we'll take first come, first serve as we open the registration page this Tuesday on the 27th. On Tuesday, please visit our WNBA website and follow the link to the CTA page to register and submit the deposit fee. Once you've registered, we'll contact you with a welcome email, liability waiver, gear list, and other info. And that is it for our presentation. And I'm going to open the floor for questions that you guys might have. But first, Dave, do you have anything you'd like to add or comment on, or
No,
fine?
just nope. Just that all the finances are run through the CTA, since they're our parent organization and they deal with all of the financial aspects of our organization. All the money goes to them, and then for obvious reasons, it goes through them, and then they'll pay Chic Choc, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're our fiscal parent, and so all of our finances, like you just what you're saying, run through them. They're the mediator, and then we'll transfer the funds. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah,
And I have a couple of questions.
yeah, sure, go for it.
One is so for the cat skiing and maybe the resort skiing. I wonder if we should bring two pairs of skis, just bring downhill and backcountry.
Yeah,
Well,
I think, yeah, I'm planning on doing that. I think it's a good idea. The conditions are going to be variable. I think they could really change while we're there even. And so if you have two pairs of skis that you prefer, if we end up with a huge powder day, I think you're going to want to be floating on your powder skis. I'm definitely bringing a pair of skis that I can edge into some more challenging conditions. I two. I mean, we haven't talked about a limit on the skis. I think two makes sense because I think we can cover, you know, a wide variety of conditions with two pairs. If someone comes with a whole quiver, I don't know where we'll put all, everything, but
that
yeah,
sounds great. Yeah.
that's a great question.
Okay, I'm planning to bring two also. And a question about lodging is what does it look like? Is there an option for like single rooms, or how do we what does the place look like?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I can send pictures out for it too. I didn't have time to put the room pictures in. So Big Bill is our house that we've got rented. It sleeps 12 people, and there are
Mhm.
some single rooms. There's also like double beds. There are a few rooms that have double beds, and there's a couple pull-out couches too. So I wouldn't call it like luxury accommodations, but it's very comfortable. It looks pretty spacious, and I think when we hunker down for the night, I think that we'll have a few uh, pull-out sofas, and would basically be sleeping. The
the pull, I will say
Yeah,
it does say they say that it sleeps like 20 people.
yeah, they
Um,
say
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
okay, so the couple couches are included in that 20 people.
yeah,
So that being said, it does have a substantial amount of bedrooms.
yeah.
So the couches are there, but I don't think people will, there's enough beds that
Yeah,
wouldn't
we
be
might not need to use it. It's
with,
sometimes, yeah, I'm sorry.
with 12 people. I think there's enough bedrooms that would be
Right.
acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to tell. I've done enough Airbnb that places say that they'll sleep this many
Right.
people, and then you show up and it's actually like a pull-out cot. And they have pictures of the bedrooms, and they're definitely a few of the rooms that you share with people. So that there are some private rooms. There is another house for a step up in price that I think would give most people a private room.
Mhm.
And so if our group, consensus wise, everybody wanted that and they were willing to chip in a little bit more money, we could negotiate that with Chick Choc also. It's something we'd want to move on that quicker so it doesn't get snatched up, but it is open right now.
Excellent. Yeah. And last one. So the refund. So there's $1,000 non-refundable,
Yeah.
and then we pay the balance in December. So if I get injured like I did a year ago, unfortunately, and
Hmm.
I'm unable to go, I can get a credit for next year or for some other time. Is that correct? No, there's no financial refund, but a credit.
There isn't. No, it's Chick Choc has what we signed up for is a credit,
Yeah.
a
Okay.
credit refund that'll we it you can cancel up to 10 days before the trip and
We get a
anytime
credit.
between that,
Yeah.
but there isn't, as far Dave, you might be able to answer this better, but I don't believe there is any like 60-day or 90-day
Mhm.
prior to the trip that Chick Choc will give back any money, but they will do a 2-year credit on it.
To your credit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
all my questions. Yeah.
yep, that's how it is. So
Yeah.
they just I think it's just Chick Choc trying to cover themselves. So, you don't
Yeah.
get 5 days away and say, "Oh, I'm not going to go," and then they're stuck. That's basically what it covers.
Yeah.
Understand. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, if something does arise, we will try to negotiate with them. They've been extremely reasonable so far. Dave has been the interface with them, and but what Dave's told me, and Dave, again, you can say this, they've been really reasonable, and very personable. And so if shit does hit the fan, we'll definitely try to negotiate with them and say, that we've got this one person, it's an emergency, what can you do for us and things. We won't we'll do our best to try to get a refund, and you never know.
Yeah, they've been great. They've been
Yeah.
really great to deal with, and they get back to me wicked fast, same day usually. I emailed Friday afternoon, and she got back to me Saturday morning. Um, yeah, they've been really
Yeah.
they communicated pretty well with us about Mount Miller. They had suggestions because originally we talked about going like a Saturday to a Friday. And she was like, well, the trip would be better if it was the Monday to the Saturday, and then Mount Miller would be better on a Saturday. And so they've really worked with us. And so they've
Yeah.
been really great.
One more question, actually. Is it possible to leave a car in Greenfield for that week potentially?
Yeah, that's a great question too. There's probably a variety of different options because that's where we're basing out of right now because it's right on 91 to head north.
Yeah.
I live very close there, so a car could be left at my place. There's a parking garage, long-term parking garage in Greenfield also that a car could be left. We could figure something out so that people coming in could drop a vehicle. But it's
Awesome.
always, I've got plenty of room for. I live about 10 minutes outside of town, and so vehicles could be stored in on my property also.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, apropos something that Dave said that was interesting. That so Mount Miller is right, the ski area is right there in Murdochville, and our Big Bill house is at the base of it. And when Dave was talking with Chick Choc, apparently I think they run Mount Miller maybe, um, and
Yeah, they do.
uh, and so they're deciding this year that they're not going to run it midweek, only on the weekends, maybe Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or just Saturday and Sunday.
Just Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. And so I believe we'll have permission to uphill. We haven't checked on this, but I don't see why it would be an issue to uphill when we get there. They won't be running the lifts on that Monday, but we could do a couple uphill laps when we get in to kind of warm our legs up and get used to being there. But then right as we're leaving on Sunday, then I'm sorry, on Saturday, the lifts will be running then. And so that's why they wanted to shift us over a little bit to be kind of understand what our itinerary was and accommodate us for that so that we would be able to get like an additional half day of skiing in, which I thought was really cool of them to be like thinking about that. And that
Yeah,
half.
I was there a year ago, and I arrived early before my snowcat skiing, and I was able to not Mount Miller, although I didn't ask. There's another mountain across the street which they use for backcountry skiing and cross country even. And I was able to uphill that and ski down. No problem. I didn't even have to ask about that.
That's great. Yeah, I didn't know.
It's a
I didn't know
great
about that.
place. The only issue with it is so far away, it's hard to get to.
Yeah.
My question is, and I think I shot an email to one of you guys earlier when you first had the idea, is my bones, I'm turning 60 this year. I'm not sure that I can handle 2 days in a car, there and back. What if I flew?
Yeah, you flew into Quebec City.
Yeah, flew into
Yeah.
Quebec City, and either rented a car or joined a spot in the van or whatever.
I think that's
I'd love skiing. I'd love skiing with the group,
Yeah.
but I'm just not sure I could handle the drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's totally understandable. It's a 11+ hour drive. I mean, that's why we're wanting to break it up also, is so that we're not showing up to ski after sitting in a car for 12 hours, like that's brutal even on any age. But I think we'd want to think about it before we committed to anything. But I don't see why that would be an issue. If you flew into Quebec City, we're gonna be staying in Quebec City, so and we'd have the extra space in the transportation that you would just jump right into, and we throw your gear in. So I don't, and then I'm assuming you'd fly back out, of course. So we'd
Yeah,
sit through Quebec City on our way back, and we drop you off at the hotel. And so I don't see why that would be a problem, and an option for anybody else who wanted to do that too. I think that we wouldn't be able to adjust Dave and I would talk about this, but I don't think we could adjust the cost on it because we've got to rent the vehicles, etc. So I think our cost would have to be the same.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that question.
Yeah,
No,
I
no
think
worries.
we'd want to talk about that too. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I will say that the hospitality of this outfit it's really good. I mean, I've been to a lot of cat skiing outfits and backcountry outfits, and this is as good or better than most. And I suppose the French Canadian way is a big factor here.
So
The
Steve,
poutine is great.
oh yeah, they have poutines on the menu, man.
Yes.
So did you, when you
Yes.
were up there last year, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions about your
Sure.
trip?
Yeah.
Did you went with Chic Choc as your
Yeah.
guide
Oh
and
yeah.
your
I
cat?
went with the exact same group.
Oh, that's great. Oh, excellent. And yeah, and you're saying that they were pros, and so you're familiar with the
Yeah,
Murdochville.
I met Guillaume, who's the owner and founder, and I also met his dad too, who is helps out with the business. I mean, it's kind of a family operation with
Um,
some guides and drivers that have been added. But I mean, last year they started early, and I was up there at the end of January, but it was right after like the big washout that had happened. Remember when we got washed out here, they got washed out up there, but then it snowed heavily for several days, and we were able we were on the basically the first cat on the mountain, on Mount York. And the snow was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't, like snorkel depth, but in spaces it was, 3-4 feet deep. Other places, it was like 2 feet deep. So, but I think in February, I mean, you want to bet on this place, you bet on February. So I
Yeah.
don't think there'd be any issue.
Yeah, that's what they recommended when we were checking out over the winter. They said if you want to come with any guarantee that this week that we chose is like consistently the best. So,
Yeah.
knock on wood, we've got our fingers crossed. I mean, that's part of the concern is, there's no guarantee, and this is the
Right.
Northeast. Anything can happen, but you know, we want to do it, and so we gotta commit, and that's what we're doing here, and hopefully we've got a good group of people who want to commit also to it and make this happen.
Yeah.
Andy, what happens if the unlikely event we actually don't have 12 people to sign up? Do we just split the cost, or what do we do?
Great question. We've had enough feedback from the community that we're anticipating this to fill up. We've, over the winter, we had a lot. I mean, of course, everybody says, "Oh yeah, I'll definitely go on the trip. I'll definitely," and that people have best intentions, but there's been a lot of interest and excitement around it. And so far we have 6. We don't have the registration page set up yet. We're waiting for Catamount. The Catamount Trail Association has put on a major event today. That's the Race to the Top Delta Dental on Mansfield, and they've been crushed. And so I've been trying to get a registration page, and I'm gonna work with Matt tomorrow to get it put up. So ideally we would have it up right now. But we've got 6 verbal confirmations from people right now, which is half the trip filled. So I'm pretty confident we're going to have it filled, and maybe even a cancellation list too. So. But if we don't, then Dave, again, you've talked with them a little more directly. I think that I'm not sure if we'll have to share the cost or if they'll just reduce it at a ratio level. I'm not sure.
I think it's just the cost. It's just the cost. So they would,
Yeah.
because when we talk to them, when I talk to them, the house is the house, and
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
But they have other accommodations there.
Yeah.
And like I stayed in their little Bates Motel. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called, but they've got a little Bates Motel, and I was the only person in that place. That's also right close to Mount Miller too.
Yeah.
So you never know. You might be able to pull it off with their other accommodations.
Yeah.
Just downsizing it.
Yeah, she was so helpful, she was just like, it is, yeah, I would agree. I think they would adjust the lodging or adjust, the cats or whatever, based on our need. It seems like the cost per person for the cat ski and um the guided tours, it seems like it's a set fee. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I do want to say when I jokingly say Bates Motel, it kind of looked like that when I drove up to it, and I was a little apprehensive to get into the place, but it was actually quite nice.
Yeah. I've seen they've got the dormitories. It seems like in the last year they've done a major renovation too. They said they renovated Big Bill. The interior looks really nice. They've got dormitories. They have a variety of accommodations. You know, they have the ski bum dorms, I think they call them. And then they've got some houses that have like every amenity in them too. So, you know, yeah, I think we'll be able to adjust it. It really depends on how much they book things up.
It does kind of look like the Bates Motel.
Yeah, that one does.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Uh, so I have those 6 people that have said for sure. Is this going to be a sausage fest, or is this going to be a co-ed?
You know, I think most things backcountry skiing are male dominated. So it'd be great to have some ladies. If you know some ladies, invite them in. I think it'd be great to have, you know, some diversity of all types. So, but you know, in general, ends up being kind of what you see here. You know,
it's yep.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I would really love it. I think the more the better for diversity and things, and so that'd be great. But I don't think we've heard it from anybody other than men right now.
Yeah, this is the best backcountry experience I've had in, you know, New England, the Northeast.
Oh yeah.
Period. And I've, you know, skied Mount Washington a few times, and I mean, I was only there for, you know, really one day in the backcountry, but you know, I definitely, you know, want to go back. I do have a couple things that I'm, you know, potentially you know, scheduling around those dates. So I'm taking my boys to Silverton, but I don't have the date nailed down yet. And then I also have a ski trip in Colorado, a separate one that I do with some guys, and that might probably not these dates, but it might be like the week beforehand. So,
well, we're willing to adjust the trip over to Silverton, you know, if that's no problem. Well, that sounds like a doable thing. That's great, man. Good for you.
yeah, well, it's you know, you only turn 60 once, so
yeah.
I figure it's better to do it now than 70.
Yeah. Just to make you feel better, I'm turning 64 the day before we leave for Quebec. So.
Oh, good. It'll be a party. That's great. We'll have something to celebrate.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, if you can make it happen, it'd be great to have you on another trip. It was really fun up at Bolton last year.
Yeah, that was on the tail end of my trip, so I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody has any other questions, fire them out. And otherwise, you know, we're gonna open up on Tuesday the registration page. So go to the WNBA website and go onto our events page, and there'll be a link to it. And spread the word. And someone you know wants to watch the Zoom to get information, just let us know, and we'll provide a link for that also.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, and thanks for all the work you guys did on this. This is
absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, we're psyched. It's going to be a great trip. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be in a snowcat and I can understand what everybody's saying, because last year I was the only American, and my French is it's not so bad, but French Canadian is a whole different thing.
Oh yeah. True. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you soon.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.